This is Army McGuire with Ageless Strength Productions. Today I'm going to explain how to use shorter and even medium-sized Indian clubs in the seated position. I field or take a lot of questions on my website and answer questions for people all around the world about routines, weights, and different information about clubs, and I enjoy doing so. I had a very interesting request though, and oftentimes if I can't answer a question by writing it out, or it would take 5 hours to write it out, I'll sit down and try to do a quick video, and that's what this one is. There was a fellow by the name of Larry that asked me about doing seated club exercise. He unfortunately is bound to a wheelchair and was curious about the clubs clearing the knees. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you video of how to go about using the clubs in a seated position and clear your knees. Well, Larry asked about the knees, but what I'd also like to bring in or have people think about is the arms on, let's say, a wheelchair. Now, many people are confined to a chair only temporarily. They have a knee injury or knee operation. I've had two myself. Yet we still want to exercise. We still want to be active. We still want to stay in shape. We still want movement, even though we're confined, limited in some way. You've also got a lot of people who play basketball in different leagues that are confined to chairs. You can exercise, that's the great news, and you can get a lot of benefit from the club. So let's go down and I'll show you some exercises. When you start out, I would suggest these are 1 pound clubs or 2 pound clubs. I have them on my website, or you can even get them online through various sporting goods companies and whatever, and they make a plastic version. These 2 pound clubs are short enough to start with. They're not going to interfere with the back of the chair if there's handles on the back of the chair, so that shouldn't be a problem. We want to address right now knees and the arms of the chair. If you start off, if you're familiar with my material, if you start off with 2 pound clubs and the thumbs in the upright position, we're going to use this, as I say in all my videos, DVDs. This is a form of mnemonic or a mnemonic device that will help you remember the exercises. First we teach it broken, and then we teach it fluid. Then we're going to go to complex. And I'm going to show you all this from the seated position while you're still clearing the knees. So thumbs are up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 movements, but particularly for people seated or people that have a problem with slouching, or they're truck drivers, again a seated position, or at a desk all day, computer, seated position. We want to be careful, but we try to keep our back straight. But if we're seated all day long, our body begins to collapse in this position, and eventually over a long period of time we get what we call anterior tipping in the shoulders, and the shoulders fall forward. You'll see this in kids today that are playing video games. There's all sorts of people that get this problem. I'm going to show you. It's the 4th movement that will help, not completely, but will help to correct this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's from 3 to 4. It's this motion. So if you can see this from the back, well, it's this pinching of the scapula, arching of the back before 4, 5, and then bring the clubs in. So to start off with, if we do this in broken, then I'm going to show it in fluid. 1, 2, I keep the hands in close. You can do it out also, but in the very beginning, try to keep them close to your chest. Drop the clubs. And I'm just going to clear the handles, the arm on the chair with the handles, and then move it to fluid. Once we start to do fluid, there's 3 positions for the fluid. One is when we look over, there's a V here in the top, you'll see this V. I'm going to look over, I call it the triple gem. We look over the top of the club. The second, we look through the middle of the club. And the 4th, we look over the middle, and then we look under the arms. The arms make a V, an inverted V. So the first one is 1. The second one is 2. I'm looking through this diamond in the middle, the square. The third one is here, and I look through. This gets my hands up above my head. So we start broken, we go to fluid in 3 different heights, levels, if you will. 1, 2, 3. Now what you can do is you can pass the right club in front of the left or the left club in front of the right. The next exercise sequence that I'm going to show you is Heaven 6, as we say in Filipino martial art, or this is used in a myriad of different sports activities and exercises and routines and all sorts of things. And it's called the 6 count. So I'm going to show it broken, then I'm going to show it fluid. Then I'll show it close to my chest, the middle, and then out away from my body. So I'll show it to you broken first, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we bring it back to the beginning position. I'm going to show this to you at an angle here. We can even chamber the left club underneath the right and go 1, 2, 3. That's the first sequence. 1, 2, 3, and then I go back to chamber. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Play the video over slowly 2 or 3 times to get the movement. One of the reasons I'm using 2 different clubs of 2 different colors is to make it easier for you to understand which one to move at a time. Sometimes when I'm teaching club exercise, I'll explain to people another way to learn the movements better is to go ahead and hold a piece of paper up over the viewing area so that you're only looking at the half of the movements, and then practice with 1 club to learn half the movement, if that makes any sense, so that you can go ahead and learn the movements. Then do the other side, right side, left side, right side. So I'm going to show this to you now in a fluid way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is away from the body. I'm pushing the clubs way out away from the body. I'm primarily using what? I'm using my shoulders to do this movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So always ending out here. Now we're going to use the elbows. And I'm trying not to use my wrist so much. And now I'm going to do it much faster, directly out in front of me, clearing my knees again. But I'm going to go ahead and just use my wrists. I'm trying to limit movement. You can also move down further to the ball to get this movement. You can do a number of exercises on the sagittal plane that's out in front and back this way by really stretching the body, breathing, and then also alternating, or this way. For another form of exercise. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how to use a little heavier club. If you want to go to heavier clubs, it's very possible to do so. I would caution you first, though, to learn the light clubs, get the flexibility in your arms, do all the stretches that you see on my DVDs. Again, all those can be done from the seated position. Picking the clubs up. Pick 1 club up, set it on the shoulder. Pick your 2nd club up, set it on your lap. Then I grab a hold of the club, sitting up straight, rest the club on the other club this way, and then pass it to the shoulder. So again, pick up the right club, set it on the shoulder. Pick up the left club, set it on the lap. Pick up the club, set it on the other hand, and then set it on the shoulder. If you're a little bit stronger, you can actually pick the clubs directly up off the floor. And the way that's done is, like I explained to everyone, this is very hard. You've never, well, not never, but few people will be able to pick the club up this way. What I suggest is you turn the hands in. You can do this with the light clubs to practice first before going to a larger club. Turn the hands in so the palms are facing out and the back of the hands are facing each other. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pop the club up. I can even take my feet off the ground to show you that I'm not driving with my feet. That's another way to pick up the clubs to get started. I suggest you start with one club first to learn this, and then go to 2 clubs. And it's very simple, just like all my other movements. I break them down first. 3 movements, then we go to fluid. Then we add an additional club. Once we've mastered each side, then we put the 2 sides together. So the first movement is, I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm doing this to learn the proprioception. That is how far back I can go. When you're in a chair, you need to be careful that you're not hitting the back of the chair. A few hits, I'm sure everybody, even myself, will do this in the beginning, but later you'll get good enough to where you'll be able to control the club and not feel the chair at all. So we pass it here, my elbows short towards the sky. Second movement, swing the club back and forth. Third movement, when it gets to the outside of my body, over on this side, I'll then bring it to the ready or the start position again. So I have 1 movement, 2 movement, 3 movements. Now we're going to put them together. If you have handles on the chair, you may not find this that easy. You're going to have to move the club further to the back behind the chair. And if you do that, it's my suggestion you start with a light club. Certainly 7, 8 pounds, under 10 or 12 pounds. Then we put the 2 clubs together. We pick them up from the chair. We can set them back to this position. We're in the ready starting position. And I'll do 360 revolutions so you see how the clubs clear the chair. Now I'm going to show you one other variation that I haven't showed on any of my other videos, but I think it would be well suited for somebody in a chair. And that is, instead of passing the club over my head, behind my shoulders, I'm going to pass it out past my shoulder and then come up behind the head. So instead of this position, I'm going to go this position. I'm passing it out away from my body and then bringing it to the center. So there you have it. There's some exercises you can do, whether you're seated or not, whether it's permanent or not, whether you've got temporary injury or longer term disability. And you can also do shoulder shrugs. You can work the grip strength. There's many things you can do. Of course, there's a lot more exercises. I hope this is helpful. I hope it gets a lot of people who are temporarily or permanently seated into this exercise. These aren't heavy clubs. I think you'll find that it's conducive to loosening up the shoulder. We want to incorporate the breathing just like we do with our standing exercise. We want to remember to massage the internal organs, use the waist when we're doing these exercises, not just get stationary, flat, stale, if you will. So thank you very much. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that it's helpful for many of you out there. Have a good day.